Okay, I'm so tired. I started at the Pigeon River at 40, I-40 today. I spent the night at the Discerning Hiker Hostel. It's great. Beautiful breakfast. It's just me and Sparkplug hanging out that night. I'm at the groundhog shelter by myself. I'm at a picnic table. I just had dinner. Chicken Alfredo pasta. So good. I only had half of the dinner. I've split them in half, so it was like I think like 400 calories and I don't know, 24, 34 grams of protein. But I'm so tired. So today it was like a 5-mile sustained up for the first part, lots of stairs. And um and then after that it was like 2 miles of ridge walks and straight downs, and then it was like 0.2 miles to get to the shelter. But it's been raining off and on all day, so I had my umbrella up, which was good because like it would sprinkle and then it would pour rain and then the sun would come out. So the umbrella like handled all of it, so I didn't get wet and then I didn't get sunburned. I did put sunscreen on, but then I was so sweaty. So I feel like I wiped all the sunscreen off. So I'm really grateful for the umbrella. Um, and so I did like, I don't know, almost 8 miles today. There's a fly in my food bag. And so tomorrow, continuing towards Hot Springs, I think I'm going to do about 8-ish miles to another shelter. I've noticed, like, looking up at the trees, there's like a lot of widowmaker branches just like in the trees, which makes me a little wary of setting up a tent, because if there's wind and a branch falls down on me and smashes my brain and I die, I'd be breaking my number one rule for our family, which is don't die. So, I'm staying in a shelter tonight just because it might rain. I can't tell. Like, I got a weather forecast from the Garmin, and originally it said it was going to rain like 3 times tonight. But now it says it's not going to rain, but I don't want to get smashed by a branch. So I'm going to stay in the shelter, and then tomorrow I hike like 8.5, almost 9 miles to the next shelter. And it's supposed to be a hot day again. Like tonight, I think it's like getting down to like 50, 55, like so hot to sleep in. But that's okay. I'd rather that than the freezing that's coming on Thursday. It's going to be like 32 degrees and snowy Thursday night. And so after tomorrow, where I do like an 8.5-mile hike to a shelter, the next shelter is like 14 miles to get to the shelter. And I don't think that I'm ready for a 14-mile hike, but like after that 5-mile hike up, most of this is like little ups and downs and like 1,000-foot climbs or something. So I don't know, but there's like 6, I could be exaggerating, at least 4 tent sites. I just have to look at them and make sure like they're in a clearing where I'm not going to die from widowmaker branches falling. There's a lot of trees down from still Hurricane Helene from, 2 years ago. It's a lot of material out here. There's a lot of trees And I don't fault anyone for the fact that they're still all up there, because that's a huge undertaking to try to get them down. But also safety third. So I'm so tired. It's only like, let me look at my watch, 5:15, and I feel like I'm about to go to bed. The sun is still up. But I don't think that matters. I think I'm gonna sleep really well tonight, and then I'll get up. I did really good with like eating on the way up the hills and then eating at the tops of the hills. I didn't take as many breaks as I needed to. My feet kind of hurt. Um, but when I get to Hot Springs, there's okay, I'm laughing because I've watched some of my videos. I rewatched them just to like, I'm not editing any of this, obviously, but I'm good at English. I know words, but when I'm so tired, I don't know words. But there's an outfitter in Hot Springs. My boots, I believe, are a little too big. And when I went to Outdoor 76, he gave me like some super feet insoles, but they seem to hurt my feet more. And I don't know if that's just because they're not broken in, but it's been like a lot of miles. So like the balls of my feet start really, really hurting and aching. So I've taken my shoes off. I have my camp shoes on. I'm gonna use a cork ball and like roll my feet tonight before I go to bed. And then I'm gonna talk to them about boots. I have Oboz boots, Bridger, I think is what they're called. And they're really great at keeping my ankles supported, and so I don't have tendonitis. But even with like the guy from the NOC teaching me how to like heel lock them, they're not really heel locking. So my foot is like slipping forward. But I stayed at the Discerning Hiker Hostel last night. I think it was in Cosby, Tennessee. It was a great place. Not very good Wi-Fi, so I haven't been able to like upload videos. Probably upload a ton when I get to Hot Springs where I have Wi-Fi. But he was telling me this old Boy Scout trick where you take like pantyhose and you put them on before you put on your socks, and it moves the friction away from your skin and like to the sock. So I went to Walmart. Sparkplug, who was the other hiker, he needed to resupply. And I have plenty of food from my Smokies thing that didn't happen. So I asked where like the pantyhose were, and I went and got some knee highs, and I used those today, and I don't have any blisters. And even on that 2 mile downhill, like my feet were hurting, but they weren't, there's no new blisters. So that's really good and a blessing. And so I'm really glad that he was able to tell me that trick. So I'm going to continue to use those. I don't think I've worn knee high, like pantyhose things in 30 something years, probably, or more. Um, Remember when everybody like wore pantyhose and they were always like 5 shades darker than their actual skin? So they'd have like white arms and faces and then like super dark legs. It's always weird to me. Um, the 80s were weird for a lot of reasons, but like that's definitely one of them. Um, I think once I get to Hot Springs, I'm not really sure where I'm going to stay. Like, I don't know my PIN number for my credit card yet. So I requested one and I'm waiting for it to come in the mail so that I could use an ATM because I need some cash. Like, a lot of these places are cash only. And I'd really like to stay at those ones because they have private rooms and I like a private room. So I'm waiting to see if it shows up at my house and I can get my PIN number. But if not, I'll just have to stay somewhere else where I can use Venmo or a credit card. So I'm going to stay at hot springs. I'm going to get in the hot springs, the mineral springs. You pay like per hour. And that just sounds amazing to just like sit in mineral springs for an hour by yourself. Like, amazing. So I'm going to go to the outfitter. I'm going to have them like fix my backpack. There's just like, it just needs a little TLC that I don't know how to do. And then I'm going to ask about boots. And then I'm going to go to the hot springs, and then I'm going to spend the night. And then I'm talking to a shuttle guy about perhaps slack packing to Erwin, Tennessee, which is the next town. And they're saying like it takes 5 days of food carry. Now I have all this extra food, and it definitely, I'm trying to get this fly out of my food bag. Come on. It takes like 5 days for like, I just dropped my food. 5 days for like a normal hiker, meaning like they're doing 15-mile days. I'm not up to that yet. So I feel like I would have like a lot more food, and then it's heavy, and then I go slower. And I'm trying to not go slow. And I also feel like maybe if I can do like 10 miles with no backpack, or just like water, a little bit of food, and warm jacket and rain gear, like a lot lighter, that I can get my cardio better and closer to trail legs. So I know that he was saying that there's between gaps, there's like a 6-mile hike and then a 9-mile hike. So I might just spend 2 nights in hot springs, or maybe 3, like one, just take a 0 and go sit in the hot springs and get my gear all figured out, and then do those 2 smaller hikes. And then he said there's like a 21-mile hike. So I would have to like take my whole gear, my backpack and everything, and I would go and spend the night, but I'd only need to take like 1 day of food, so it'd be a lot lighter. And then that would be hard because it'd be like 2 10-mile days. And then from there, I would have him take me to like Uncle Johnny's in Erwin, which is a hostel. And then I would just kind of slack pack from where I left off up to Uncle Johnny's, spend the, a night or two. I don't know how long it's going to take. But Uncle Johnny's has these like little private cabins that sound great. I like private rooms. There are bunks, and like bunk rooms have anywhere from like 4 to 8 or 10 bunks. But it's a crapshoot because there could be a snorer, and I don't want to be near a snorer. So I'll just pay a little extra and go to the private rooms. So anyway, I could stay at Uncle Johnny's for like 2 nights, maybe 3. Get all my slack packing done. So I would have hiked from Hot Springs to Erwin, and then I would resupply and then keep going. And I think the next town is like Roan Mountain, and I'm not really sure how far that is, but I would figure it out at some point. I'm trying not to get too far ahead of myself. So that's kind of the plan right now. I love this little shelter. There's a picture. I think it said it was built in like 1939. That was, I think, when the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps, was out here doing a bunch of stuff, and they were giving people jobs to like help the economy and help people. So it's an older shelter. Got it to myself again, which I love. No more snorers. And I had a great water source, so I've got enough water. I had some dinner, had that chicken Alfredo pasta. I think I said that already. I don't know. Anyway, I had a good dinner. I don't remember if I said this in any of my videos, But when I was in Murphy, North Carolina, this guy named Turtle Man made me a tea. I think I did say this. It's got like oat straw, nettle, horsetail, and alfalfa. And he said that nobody could cure his stuff, and so he just made his own tea. So I put a pinch of that in some hot water every night and every morning, and it seems to be really helping. And I just ate a ton of electrolytes, and I'm like pounding some water tonight, just trying to recover. And then tomorrow I get up. It's supposed to be warm again. I think it's supposed to maybe rain tonight. And then the next day is supposed to be like super cold and snowing and like a cold day. So I may like put on an extra layer of pants because sometimes my legs get really cold. But that's kind of the plan. I'm just walking towards hot springs. I may have to be out here for 4 nights, just depending on how fast or slow I am hiking. And then after 4 nights, I'll be ready for like some laundry getting done and a bed and some real rest. So anyway, the sun is still like super bright. I don't know if you can see it over there. But I was really proud of myself for doing that 5 miles because that was like the longest sustained up. Remember, like I didn't do the one from the NOC. I went backwards. And I skipped the Smokies, which was a 10-mile one. So this is like 5 miles. And it was an intense 5 miles. And all these guys are passing me. But then I met this guy, and his name was Monarch. And he's out here, and his wife was killed by a drunk driver January 8th of this year. And he had already had this plan, and his kids told him he had to do it. His wife was going to come hike with him. So we cried together. It was just this really poignant moment as we're just like passing in trail and just stopped to have a conversation. And he was saying it's really hard because all these other guys are talking about their wives, and then he's there, and they were married, I think he said 38 years. So if you think about it in your prayer, if you could pray for Monarch from, I think he's from Indiana, just for some comfort and some healing while he's out here, that would be great. Because like I'm doing that. I started praying for him immediately when I walked away. So yeah, like this is super close up. You can see like this freckles, like the sun. I do put sunscreen on my hands and I put sunscreen on my face, but then I sweat because it is so hot. Who knew that like March in wherever I am, North Carolina, was like 72 degrees. Like it was so hot today. And I think tonight, like I said, it's only going to get down to like 55. Got this huge winter sleeping bag. I don't even know if I'll use it. I'll just put my like sleeping clothes on and hope for the best. And I'll keep y'all updated. This is probably gonna be a longer video because I'm just gonna do these little updates as I walk towards Hot Springs. So this is kind of gonna be this section. But anyway, I hope y'all are doing great. And I felt proud of myself, like I said, and accomplished. And then I did this, like, oh, I got something in my teeth. Let's try alfalfa. Like super hard things. And I'm doing them while not really enjoying them, but accomplishing them. And hoping that someday I'll enjoy them and accomplish them. So that was today, and I'm exhausted. So I'm going to go lie down, filter some water, put everything away. I got to brush my teeth and put in my retainers, and pick up my food bag that fell on the floor while I was trying to get the flies out of the ground. there's all these bees buzzing around. There's like a couple of, you see that? What is that called? Like a post. And there's one over there, and they keep like flying into them. So I hope that like me being in the middle of both of those is far enough away that they're okay with it and they're happy with it, with me being far enough away. So anyway, y'all take care and stay extraordinary.